Hi, I'm Ezeebeady. Today I'm going to show you how to make this bracelet. It's an advanced tutorial. I think it's rather not difficult to make, but you just need a good knowledge of beading. So that's my advice. I've also made a pair of earrings. Now I haven't shown you how to make these, but when you make the main component, instead of putting Superduos around all the way around, you're putting in an 8/0 seed bead, the ones that you're using in the connection, and then you just need to embellish the edges here and put a loop on. I haven't shown you how to do this because it's really quite easy to work out for yourself, so I'll leave that up to you, but they do look really nice with the bracelet. Now during the tutorial for the end components I did say to leave a long thread to attach your clasp. Now you can do it this way if you wish, but in hindsight, if you can just connect all of them together, not leaving a thread, and just connect your components with the thread that you're going down the outer edge with. You may find that a lot easier than messing about trying to connect the component, the clasp at the end like I did. So just bear that in mind. Like I say, hindsight is always wonderful, as we all know from past experiences, I suppose. I think, like I say, I think it's rather pretty. Put a nice box clasp on it. This one is 6 components long, and I have a small wrist, and it just fits me nicely. So if you want for a bigger wrist, but not that much bigger, you can use a smaller clasp, because this clasp does add quite a bit as well. So there we go. I've also made it in a blue. I had to do blue, didn't I? Just to see what it looked like. I used clear crystals on this one, clear AB crystals. It does look nice. Silver seed beads, and I also did one with blue bicones in the middle. Now I prefer this one. I do like the red and gold, I love that one, but you know me, I like blue, but I didn't have enough blue bicones to do the whole bracelet. So there we go. I'll just let you know what you need and then we'll get going. For each individual component you need 8 Superduos in one colour. These are matte ruby. You need 4 Superduos in a second colour. These are chalk. You need some 11/0 seed beads. These are Duracoat gold by Myuki. You need 4 4mm bicones. These are coral red by Swarovski. 4 6mm rounds. These are pearl by Swarovski. You're also going to need some 8/0 seed beads, but we're not going to use these in this section. Just letting you know that you're going to need them. So I'll move them out of the way. I've got a box clasp in gold to match my seed beads. On here I've already added 6 jump rings, so that it's ready to go on when you're ready to use it. A pair of pliers for your tight spots, a pair of scissors to cut your thread. The thread I am using, Fireline crystal, 0.008, and a beading needle. The amount of thread I'm using is a good arm span of thread, just over from one end of your arm to the other shoulder. That gives you plenty, because you do need to leave your tail so that you can connect your pieces on each one, and then it just helps with your connections. Right, so to begin with, we need the 8 Superduos in one colour, your 6mm rounds and a few 11/0. So pick up a round, an 11/0, 2 Superduos and an 11/0. Now do this another 3 times, so we need 4 of this section. So again we need a round, an 11/0, 2 of your Bicone, Superduos, sorry, and an 11/0. Pick up your round, your 11/0, 2 of your Superduos and an 11/0, and your last one, your round, an 11/0, 2 Superduos and an 11/0. Take these down. If this is an end section, you could leave quite a long tail, in which case a bit longer thread would be handy. Then you can put your clasp on with that tail. So I've got that on there already, and we need to tie some knots in there. Fairly tight but not over tight. The way I do it, it always loosens off anyway, so I'm not too worried. If you prefer, go around these again and then tie your knots, but you'll need to thread your tail away. So I'm going to go into the pearl, and it's quite easy to come out in between your Superduos, but you won't be able to go round them because of the angle of the hole, because the hole will go that way. So what I do is I come out in the middle, and if you can't get it out, just pop that one under like that, and your hole becomes separated. So I've just taken that down, and I'm going to pull my knot in. So I've taken my knot away from the end of my tail, so I'm going to go right round these one more time to secure my work. So it's easier to go into the Superduo and go straight across and come out of the middle 2 Superduos. Again, like I said, just pop that one underneath like that, and then you can come out quite easily. So go around this one complete circle. So again, like I said, I've just popped my second Superduo down to allow me to through that hole. If I just go through this next section, my knot is in there somewhere. I know that because my tail is there. So if you get stuck anywhere here, that's why. Just pop that one down again, out through the middle one. So what I'm going to do now is just go into the next Superduo and into the seed bead next to it and come out there. I'm going to cut my tail off now. That's what we have so far, and like I said, I'm just coming out of this seed bead. Pick up 2 of your 11/0 seed beads and go into the top hole of the Superduo that we're right against. Pick up your second colour Superduo and go into the next Superduo. Pick up 2 11/0 seed beads, and we're going to go into the seed bead. You just pop it up with your finger and you'll get in there. So I'm going into the seed bead, and through the next 2 Superduos. Again, you can just wobble them around, twist them up a bit. You can tighten this up in a second. See how it's all loose? We'll just tighten it up, give it a pull, and it's tight. And then you've got through them quite easily. So what we need to do now is get across to this other side. We need to be coming out of this seed bead here. So just work your way across. Don't worry too much if this loosens up a little bit, because we can just pull it this next time. Again, come out with the middle 2 Superduos. Just makes it that bit easier. Give that a pull to tighten this one up. Into your next Superduo, and we're coming out of that seed bead after the Superduo. So I'll pull that again. Make sure this is all tight. So now what we're going to do is the exact same thing that we've just done here on this one. So we need to pick up 2 11/0 seed beads and back into the Superduo that you've just gone through. Pick up your second colour of your Superduo and into the next Superduo, and then 2 11/0 seed beads. And we're going to go into the seed bead that's against the Superduo, and if you have to come out in the middle, that's absolutely fine. Don't worry too much about it not being tight just yet. And then into the next Superduo. If you can, go straight across to the next Superduo, just like that. So I've gone through right through that section. I'm coming out in between them 2 Superduos. And then we'll give that a pull to tighten this section up. So go through your next Superduo and your next seed bead, and just come out of the seed bead right before the 6mm pearl. Pick up 2 11/0 seed beads and go into the top hole of the Superduo that you're right against. Pick up your second colour Superduo and through the next Superduo. Pick up 2 11/0 seed beads, and we're going to go into the seed bead that is right next to the Superduo we're coming out of. And again, if necessary, come out of the middle Superduo. It just makes life a bit easier. Back into the second Superduo, and if you can, go straight across and in between, coming out in between the 2 Superduos. If you need to do them one by one, it's absolutely fine. So then you just straighten all that lot up and give it a pull. And then into the next Superduo and coming out of the 11/0. So once more, we're picking up 2 11/0 seed beads and going into the top hole of the Superduo. Pick up your last second colour Superduo and into the next Superduo. Pick up 2 11/0 seed beads, and we're going into the seed bead that is against the Superduo that we're coming out of. once more, coming out in the middle. It just makes life that bit easier. And give that a pull. But this time we're going into the second Superduo through the 11/0, and we're going to come out of the pearl. So we're not going right across this time. We're coming out of the 6mm round, just like that. And tighten that up. So that's what we have so far. And now we're doing the centre section, so we're going to pick up 3 11/0 seed beads, a 4mm bicone, an 11/0 seed bead, a 4mm bicone, and 3 11/0 seed beads. I'm coming out of this pearl here, this one. I'm going to go straight across to the same side of the pearl opposite, so just through the pearl. Don't worry about that not being tight at the moment because we need to be in here, so don't worry too much. Pick up 3 11/0 seed beads, 4mm bicone, and I'm going to go into the middle seed bead in between these two 4mm bicones. Right, before you pull that all the way down, now we need to tighten that bit up. Just pull your thread and pull that straight down. Pick up your 4mm bicone and 3 11/0 seed beads, and I'm going to go into the pearl on the opposite side that we originally came out of. So just go through the pearl, nothing else. And that's what we have so far. So now we need to go down the 3 11/0s that we added, and I'm coming out with a 4mm bicone. Make sure you know which direction you're going in. I'm going to go through the 11/0. If you can do this all in one go, that's absolutely fine. So I've gone through the 11/0 in the middle, and I came this way, so I'm going diagonal. So I'm going to go through the 4mm bicone and 1 of the 11/0 seed beads. I'm just going to put my thumb on that and give it a good tighten up. So I'm just coming out of 1 of the 11/0 seed beads after the 4mm bicone. Pick up 2 11/0 seed beads. And now we need to go into this pearl here. We've just done these two and I'm coming out this side, so we need to go in that pearl there. Just the pearl, nothing else. And out the other side. Just make sure they sit nice. Pick up 2 11/0 seed beads, and I'm going to go, these 3 here, I'm just going to go in the one that is right against the 4mm bicone. And now I'm going to go through the 11/0 in the middle. Can get a bit tight on there, so just be careful. And make sure they sit nice. Then through the 4mm, so we came out from this way and we're going diagonal across. So we need to go through the 4mm and the next 11/0 that is right against it. Just that one. pick up 2 11/0 seed beads, and I'm going to go into this pearl now. Just the pearl, come out the other side. Just make sure they sit nice and give that a pull. Pick up 2 11/0 seed beads, and this is the last one here, so we need to skip them first 2 11/0, go into the third and through the bicone, and that's your basic component made. So what we need to do now is just tie it off. So go into the 11/0 seed bead that's in the middle. It's a bit hard to see which direction you need to be in, but just work it out. It's getting a bit tight in there now. And I'm going to go down the bicone opposite and out of the 1 11/0. Doesn't matter which direction you go in now, we can go that way or that way, and I'm going to go this way. So just through them next 2 11/0, and I'm going to put a knot in right before my pearl. So I just need to pick the thread up that 11/0 section there went into the pearl on. So I've just picked my thread up, and I'm going to wrap my thread around my needle and pull it slowly down, watching where it goes, make sure it goes in the right place, and then I'm going to just pop that knot into my pearl by going into my pearl. There it goes. So if you want to put another knot in, just go back up your 3 11/0, and if you can, through the 4mm and through the 11/0 in the middle, if it will allow you. Just be gentle with it. And if you break it, we just need to start again. That's gone through, that is not gone broken. So pick a direction, go up your 4mm bicone and out of the 11/0 right next to it, down your 2 11/0 in the direction you want to go in. And again, I'm just going to pop a knot in, so I just need to pick the thread up. I know it's under there. I'm going to wrap my thread around my needle and pull my knot down and take my knot into my pearl. So we're coming out of this pearl here, and I'm just going to go up the 2 11/0 that we added earlier, that is against this, the red Superduo, and I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to take my needle off my thread, so that is ready for, that tail there is ready for connecting your next components. So we need 6 of these. Right, so I'm just going to show you how to make connections now. I've already connected 3 together and it's really quite simple. This is the end I'm going to put my clasp on. So I've got the tail here and I've got my tail here for the connections, and it's coming out with the 2 11/0 that I left you with. And we need 2 6mm rounds. So pick up a 6mm and go straight into the 2 11/0 that are against your 3 Superduos, just like that. Go into your 6mm round or your pearl, just that one, nothing else, and then up the next 2 11/0 that are against your 3 Superduos. Then pick up your second pearl and get your connecting component and go down the 2 11/0 that are against your 3 Superduos. So that's the start of your connection there. We will be going up the edges to connect your Superduos once we've connected all these pieces together. So now we need to go into the round again. So all I'm going to go do now is just follow this path round a couple of times to make sure it's nice and strong. So I've gone through my round again, so I need to go back up the 2 11s, and it's gone straight through the 6mm, that's absolutely fine. So back up the 2 11s, into your 6mm round, back up the 2 11s, making sure you keep it nice and tight. Back up the connecting round, go around as many times as your thread will allow, remembering that you do need to leave enough thread to tie off. So just keep going round, like I said, as many times as you're happy with, as your thread will allow, and then tie off when you're happy. So I'm just going to go around one more time and then I'm going to tie off. I'm going to put a knot in this pearl here, so I'm just going to pick the thread up that's in between the 11/0 and the pearl, wrap my thread round and pull that down, making sure you don't catch your thread on anything else, and then go into the round and that'll pull your knot in. It's gone. I'm going to put another knot in just before this pearl, So just catch the thread that's going in between the 11s and the pearl. Wrap my thread round. Pull that down, making sure it goes in the right place. See, that knot doesn't always work, it's left a little knot, a tiny up. Hopefully that'll go into my pearl. And then take that into your pearl. I can still see it there. See, my knotted doesn't always work very well. So what I'm going to do is try and go back through that pearl and see if I can grab hold of that tiny bit of thread. Back through. And that, hopefully it should have sorted it out. That looks a lot better. So back up your 2 11s. And I'm going to put another knot in there. So just grab your thread. You can obviously do your half hitch knots, but I like these knots. And take that into my pearl. Up your 2 11s. Put as many knots in as you're happy with. I've got 3 in there now and I'm always happy with 3 knots. And I'm just going to go through my pearl. If it'll let me. It does. And then I'm going to cut my thread off there. So just keep connecting your components until you've got all 6 connected, and I'll show you how I add my clasp and then the outer connections. So come back to me when you're all connected. Okay. Right, so we've connected all your pieces together and I'm going to show how to add the clasp. I've put this end on already, so I'm going to show you how to do the other end. So you're coming out of the 2 11/0 that's connected to the 3 Superduos. Pick up 3 11/0 seed beads and your clasp. Make sure you've got it the correct way up, because there'll be nothing worse than putting it on the wrong way around. I'm just going to connect it to that piece so I know which way up I'm putting it. I need it to be that way up. So I've got it laid there and I've picked up 3 11/0 seed beads and I'm coming out this direction. So I'm going to go through the top hole of the jump ring, and then I'm going to the top hole of that Superduo that's there and take that down. Pick up 3 11/0 seed beads and I'm going to go into the 2 Superduos, the other side of the 3 that we've gone round. So that's your first part connected. Okay, so I'm coming out just before this pearl. I've just gone round there, picked up them 3 seed beads, gone through the 2 that's connecting onto the 3 Superduos, and what I need to do, I need to find a path that takes me round to these 2 seed beads here, because I need to go back up that way. So I'm going to go down my pearl, so what I'm going to do is go up these 3 seed beads here that's connecting the centerpiece. Basically you just need to try and follow your path that you've beaded already, so you don't get any extra thread showing. So I'm just trying to make my way around. So I've gone up them 3 11/0 there. Just pull that tight to pull that connection tight there, and I'm going to go up this 4mm bicone. There we go, and I've gone through the 11/0 in the middle as well. So what I'm going to do is, there is a path going from that 11/0 straight down, so I'm just going to go straight down that 4mm, and I'm coming out of the 11/0. And what I said I needed to do is be coming up here, so I'll go through these 2 11/0 there into my pearl, and then up them 2 11s, and that's where I need to be. Go whichever direction you need to get to where you want to be, following your path that you know you've already gone down. So I'm now coming out of these 2 11/0 where I needed to be. So now I'm picking up 3 11/0 seed beads, and I'm going into the top hole of the Superduo, pick up another 3 11/0 seed beads, and I need to be in my jump ring again, making sure you're going in the right direction, and then I'm going to go down the next 2 11/0. Just make sure that sits nice, and then I'm going to pick up 6 11/0 seed beads. So I've picked up 6 11/0 seed beads. Okay, so I've picked up 6 11/0. Go through your jump ring or your connection, whatever it is you're using, and then I'm going up these 6 11/0 here that we added earlier, not forgetting to go through your jump ring again. And I've gone through my Superduo again as well. So that's your component basic connected, your clasp connected. If you've got plenty of thread, you could go around this path again just to strengthen your clasp up. It certainly won't hurt if you can manage to get around it again. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going back down these 6 seed beads, go through my 6mm, back up these 3. I'm going to try and get through my yeah, I've gone through them 3, the 4mm and the centre 11/0, back down the 4mm, and I've gone through the 11/0 into the 2 connecting 11/0 and back up my pearl. So I've just come through my pearl, and I'm going up these 5 seed beads there, and I said 6 there, and there isn't, there's only 5 because your 6th one is right in there. So I'm going up these 5 That's 3 and 2 through my Superduo, and I've actually gone through that first 11 out there. So I need to go back down these next 4 around the centre 6 that we added, not forgetting to go through your jump ring. And then up these 5 and through your Superduo again and back down these outer edge ones. So that's gone around there twice now, or it's gone around the edge of the clasp twice, so I'm going to tie off my thread. I'm going to make my way down to this pearl here, if I can, to tie it off down there, because we do need to go down the outer edge for the last bit of your connection. I might just put a knot in there actually, right before my 4mm. And then my 4mm can hang my knot. Right, it's getting rather tight. My knot's gone in there, and I'm going to put another knot in because I'm going to go back down that way now. Put another knot in there just before the 4mm, making sure it goes in the right place. And then back down. And as I'm right in front of that pearl there, I'm going to put a knot in that inside that pearl. So I'll just catch my thread. Make sure it goes in the right place. And take it into that pearl. Just to take my thread away, I'm going back up these seed beads. If it'll let me, I'm going to pop it back in there. Okay, now that is fairly tight, so I'm just going to cut that thread off. So that's your basic connection. And like I said, we've gone around this twice on each set or each end now. So they're all connected. And we just need to embellish the outer edge now. Sometimes when you have these box clasps, you find that the jump ring or beads that you put underneath interfere with the connection. So what I do, I get my pliers. You have to do it really carefully. I just bend it up a slight bit and then down again. It basically widens this gap for you so that it can lever better. But you have to be careful with them. Right. So now we need, I'm going to take a couple of arm spans of thread to make sure I've got enough. So thread your needle again. Now you can do it with one needle, but 2 would be best. So I'm going to thread a needle onto each end of my thread. And there's a good tip I've seen, which is a godsend to me for threading your file line. So you get the end of your file line and squash it with a pair of pliers, and it should go through, if you get the right end of the needle, quite easily. With the flattened section, should go through. I find it a lot easier than there we go. And just grab hold of it and pull. So make sure your tails on your needle is the same length. Just make sure your needles are together and your tails are together, so we've got the same length. Put one needle down. Doesn't matter which end you start at, but what we need to do with the first needle, what I'm going to do is start down here. So that's my connection there. It just saves a bit of time. So I'm going to start down here, go through this Superduo and pick up 3 11/0 seed beads, go through the next 2 seed beads, go through your round, go up these outer edge seed beads, through your Superduo, I've gone through 1 seed bead, and I've also gone through my clasp, my jump ring on my clasp. What I'm going to do now is follow these seed beads around, and that again is strengthening your clasp for you. So it's just giving you an extra piece of thread in there. So all in all, you've gone through that 3 times now, so that should be fine. I'm just working my way down. And then through your 6mm and out through the next 2 seed beads. And now we need to centre up your thread. So put your needles together and then go down your thread and just pull that one through. It is a bit tight, but it will go if you're just gentle. If you'd rather centre it up earlier, then fine, because I do actually find this, it's a bit tight, but it does go. Just a little bit more. So this is the one we were working on this side. 3 seed beads and go into the Superduo, and then that matches you up with the other side. Right, so now we need our 8/0 seed beads. You can work on one side at a time. So you're coming out at either side of your Superduo. So we're picking up 1 11/0, 1 8/0 and 1 11/0, and then go straight into the next Superduo, and then pick up 3 11/0 seed beads, and then going into the next 2 seed beads of the 3 connecting Superduos. Go through your centre pearl, and then up the next 2 seed beads, pick up 3 11/0 seed beads, and through your next Superduo, and again pick up 1 11, 1 8/0 and 1 11, and through your next Superduo. Pick up 3 11/0 seed beads, and go down the next 2 seed beads. Go through your pearl 6mm round, and if you want you can wait there and do the other side. I'm just going to go through the next 2 11s just like that, and then I'm going to do my next one my other side, so it's not going to go wonky. So I'm coming out of the Superduo, so we need an 11, an 8 and an 11, and then I'm going to go into the Superduo. Basically all we're doing now is just mirroring the other side, so I'm going into the Superduo and picking up 3 11s and into the next 2 11s, and then I'm going to go through my 6mm round and up the next 2 11s, picking up 3 11/0 seed beads and into the next Superduo. So then we need an 11, an 8 and an 11, and go into the next Superduo. Pick up 3 11/0 seed beads and down the next 2 seed beads through your 6mm and up the next 2 11s. So now we've caught up with the other side, so just grab both threads and give it a pull, and that just pulls everything nice and tight for you. So just keep doing that same connection until you get to the end. Right, so I've just made all my connections up the outer edge, and I'm coming out of the 11 knots here. I'm either side, and I've just tightened it all up on each one. Make sure it's all tight. That looks good to me. It does shorten it ever so slightly, so just bear that in mind. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take this side thread and I'm going to go around this outer edge one more time. So I'm going through my Superduo, and this, once again, it just reinforces your clasp for you. So just follow the seed beads around the edge. Until you get to the other side, that is. So just take your time, making sure you go through your jump rings as well. I'm just about to meet up with my other thread. Now when these two meet up, if you wish, you can put a knot in your thread, but I'm not going to at this point. So I've just actually gone past my other thread and gone through the next seed bead. So get your other thread and do the same thing but in the opposite direction. Just straighten that needle up a bit, make life easier. So like I say, I'm just going through the same beads that I've just gone through, but with my other thread and in the opposite direction. So I've gone through that jump ring and I'm going to follow the seed beads around the outer edge of where my clasp is. Now it's starting to get a bit tight, so just take your time. So hopefully now we've gone through this outer edge enough times to give your clasp plenty of strength. So if you haven't gone through it when you were first connecting it a couple of times, this should sort that problem out and make sure it's nice and secure for you. So just take one thread at a time and give it a gentle pull just to make sure that's all nice and tight and that's connected. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to follow the path that I've gone up that way, I'm going to follow it back down and then cross over. I'm going to follow it down and cross over again on this one, and then take it into the middle to tie it off. So I'll just put one needle down and I'm working on this side. Now it'll be a bit tighter now because we've pulled everything tight, but I'd rather go through them all again just to make sure it's secure, and that way I've got two threads going down the outer edge. Okay, so I've met up with my other thread, and this time I am going to put some knots in there. Just a couple of knots. That'll be all it needs. Just put them nice and tight. Now you can go through that again if you wish, but I'm actually quite happy that that is secure. So what I'm going to do now is just take my thread back down to the second component, mainly because I know this one's been through a few times when I made my connection. So I'm just going to go back down so that I can put some knots in to finish off. Like I say, if you want to cross over and just go back down and put your knots in, then that's fine. But I'm actually quite happy that is quite secure. So I'm just making my way back down. In fact, I might end up having to go back through if I think about it. So I'm just going to make my way down there. I'm just before this 6mm now in my second component, and I'm going to pop a knot in there right before this pearl, so I can take my knot into my pearl. In fact, if I really think about it, I could have put a knot up there. It certainly wouldn't have hurt. So I think what's the best thing to do is put the knots down the outside. So in which case, I'm going to have to cross over. So it's extra secure to what I was thinking it was, so that's not a problem. Just put one more knot in there. Keep going and put knots in each pearl if you wish. So I've put in 2 knots, so yeah, I always like 3 knots. So I will go for my 3rd knot. It's also, I suppose, giving it extra strength to the outer edge as well. One more knot in there. I'm going to take my thread up these 3. You can keep going, not a problem. I'm just taking it up there so it's out of the way, and then I'm going to cut that thread. And then I'm going to do the same with the other side once I've gone through these beads that are attaching the clasp. This is what I was worried about. It's getting a bit tight in there. There we go. In fact, that's not going to go across there, so I'm going to go straight through my pearl. I can't seem to get around them. And there's no pulling on that one, so I'm not too worried. Back up the other side. Like I say, it's getting a bit tight now. I really don't want to break any beads. I'm going to put a knot in there. Take it into my pearl. And work your way down, putting knots right before your pearls again. Alright, so just keep going. Put as many knots in as you want. I'm actually happy with that now. So I'm just going to go up the centre here. Take my thread away from my knot and away from the edge. I'm going to cut. So 3 arm spans of thread was, I think, just about right. There's about just over half an arm span left. So. And there you go, one finished bracelet. My name is Monisa of Ezeebeady. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I'd like you to subscribe, that'd be lovely. That way you can find out when I release new tutorials. I do have a Facebook page, I'll put the link in the descriptions, as well as the amount of beads that you need for a 6 component bracelet. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye.